in our viewing area is what we're looking at for right now with that tornado warning, with that rotation just north of Water Valley. Now, we are starting to look very high up in the storm with these radars. In fact, this is going to be a little bit hard to tell what's going on here, but I can show you at least where that rotation is, just to the south of Springdale, north of Water Valley. So this is going to be Mississippi 315 running east and west right here through that couplet, what we call the rotation of the storm. With that being said, if you're in Oxford, you're fine. You're not near this rotation, but we've been seeing some very heavy rain and definitely some large hail with this storm as it moves through. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. County Road 386, County Road 391, just northwest of Water Valley. So this is Water Valley at the very bottom of your screen where we're seeing that rotation, that couplet just to the north. And this is continuing to move southeast right around 30 miles per hour. So what we'll do is we'll put a track on this, and it looks like right now just a little bit hard to tell because we're looking so high up in the radar. So I'll get another track on here for you guys and show you at least a path. This path is going to take it outside the viewing area, I will say, right on the Lafayette County line, which is up here. So we're starting to move down towards the south now. So let's go ahead and I'll put a track on this and tell you guys what we're looking like community-wise, just so you can let your loved ones, your friends know that this storm is on the way. So Water Valley 7:32, so about 3 minutes from now. Pine Valley 7:47. We're looking at Ellard right around 7:58. Schoona around 8:01 p.m. Shepherd 8:03, and Bruce right around 8:05 p.m. Of course, some of these communities well outside our viewing area, but as long as we have this tornado warning out for Lafayette County, which you can see there is a portion right now, we're going to keep you on air even as the storm starts to move out. So let's go ahead and take another look at this right now, a little bit of a closer look, and the couplet just is not where I'd want it to be. It looked like it pulsed up for a couple seconds there, and it started to go away. So you can see, I'll pull it back here. You were seeing that red and green together. This is around 7:18 p.m. So right after we had signed off the coverage here, and it looks like it tried to get its act together once again, right west of Springdale. So Springdale and Lafayette County potentially seeing some rotation over them. Nothing really confirmed of a tornado as of right now. We have not heard anything confirming a tornado with this storm quite yet today, but we've been seeing at least some rotation in the storm, which is an indication that you could potentially see something on the ground. But the good news is no confirmations. We've seen some wind damage as well as some hail out of this storm. But as we push things forward, you can see starting to get a little bit high up in the radar. Really, we're watching right north. Water Valley right here. This is Mississippi 315 running out of Water Valley, essentially right over that, and 328 is up here on your screen. So just to give you some bearings, we have I-55 all the way on the corner of your left-hand side of your screen. So we're watching this rotation right now, starting to push out of Lafayette County. So what we're looking at there is the potential that it's going to be moving out of our viewing area. What we'll do is continue to cover this so as long as that warning is out for Lafayette County. As soon as that gets dropped, we're going to bring you back to regularly scheduled programming here. But now moving into Yalobusha County right now, Water Valley, just north of where we're seeing that spin in the storm. And like I said, we're looking so high up right now, we're not seeing a good picture of what's happening at the surface. So the rotation we can tell is just north of Water Valley, and that's going to be right along Mississippi 7 here. Mississippi 7, 315. So the crossroads of these two roads right here is where we're seeing that rotation working towards the southeast. Like we said, right around 30 to 35 miles per hour. With that being said, we're getting in reports now from the emergency operations manager down in Water Valley, getting some dime-sized hail in Water Valley. So they're seeing at least some smaller hail with this storm. Like we said, the potential of up to softball size. And let's go ahead and show you what we're seeing there, because rotation, once again, not something that I think is terribly impressive. What we're seeing a little bit more is that potential of some hail between Water Valley and Springdale, which is in Lafayette County. So we're going to continue to watch for that hail threat in our viewing area as this moves on down towards the south. So what we'll do is we'll take a couple samples of this. This is a radar indicated hail size, so not necessarily what we're seeing at the surface, potentially around 1 to 1.5 inches. I would say around 1 inch to 1/2 inch probably at the surface once it reaches the ground. So we're still looking at some pretty sizable hail with this storm. This storm has had a track record, and in fact, if we pull that up, you can see this storm has continued really since up near Senatobia. We've been seeing the potential of some large hail, or even reports of large hail with this storm as it's worked towards the southeast over the last 2 hours. So a history of that for sure. We've also had a history of seeing at least some spin with this storm. And this is what we call a shear track. So essentially the radar can show where that spin has been. And you can see that weak spin that started over in portions of Panola County and dropped down towards the south. So really it was Panola County that we started to see at least that rotational track, and it's continued down south now into southern Lafayette and moving towards Yalobusha County that we're currently looking at right now. So moving outside of the viewing area, but currently right now what we've been looking at as at least the potential of a spin-up tornado. There's been nothing confirmed, and one way that we can look at that is through our debris detector. This can typically show us if we've seen signs of any debris in this storm, and as of right now, there's been nothing of an indication to me to show that we're seeing anything associated with a debris ball in this sense. We've had a lot of hail in this storm just to the north of the rotation, and that contaminates a lot of things on top of the winds coming into the storm. So there's nothing that's been really a sure sign of potentially there being a tornado on the ground. So what we'll do is we'll switch back over, and this is really the only storm that we've been watching in our viewing area. I will say there are a couple storms potentially moving into Phillips County soon. You can see this boundary essentially setting up right here, stretching into central Arkansas. This is where we're going to continue to see these storms tracking southeast of. So north of that boundary, we're not going to see any further development. If you're in Memphis, you're fine right now. And of course, we're going to continue to stay on air for this tornado warning. But here in Memphis, things are looking okay. So what we'll do is we'll pull up this tornado warning, show you the information, reset you guys, talk about what we're looking at. It's going to be a tornado warning until 8:15. Calhoun, Lafayette, Yalobusha County, and this is radar indicated once again. So this is the radar telling us, hey, the storm is spinning, but we don't know if it's actually at the ground. And that's been the case with this storm all day. We've had no confirmation reports, no debris, no damage reports indicating that there was a tornado on the ground at any point, but definitely some stronger winds and definitely some larger hail. That's been in the history of this storm as it's pushed out of really the northern parts of Mississippi. It's starting to work a little bit further to the south now. But what we'll do is continue to track this. I will say the rotation is going to start to track out of our viewing area a little bit, but we're going to stay on as long as this tornado warning is out for Lafayette County. So as soon as they chop that off, we'll cut you guys back to regularly scheduled programming here. But what we'll do, because like I said, that rotation's in Water Valley. That's Yalobusha County now. We're not talking about Lafayette anymore, but we're still talking some pretty heavy rainfall as well as some hail. We'll even turn on the lightning strikes here and show you guys what we're looking at lightning-wise. Around 37 strikes, so pretty decent, but nothing too crazy, which shows the storm isn't strengthening from what we're currently seeing. If anything, it's maintaining strength or weakening as we go forward. So let's get you back over to the wind. That's where we're going to see any rotation in the storm. Like I said, we're getting pretty high up in that in the atmosphere with these scans. So it's going to be pretty hard to see any rotation, and even right there, we're not even looking like anything too impressive. Now, I will say, Water Valley, the emergency manager is now saying that they're getting reports of baseball-sized hail northeast of Water Valley. So that, I'm going to switch us back to that. That is exactly where we were looking at that hail core. Here it is, northeast of Water Valley, where we could be seeing some very sizable hail. We're talking about 2 to maybe even 3 inches at the ground. If that report is accurate there, our radar estimation right around 2 inches, but potentially even higher than that, according to some of these reports. So we might be getting some pretty serious hail just outside of the viewing area in Lafayette County itself. This hail is south of you. So you're out of the worst of this storm. And I will say, looking more and more like it's outside of our viewing area. You can see Paris out towards the east, Springdale to the north of this hail core, Water Valley, of course, outside of the viewing area, these 2 locations in Lafayette County. You got 9 West going over here and 315 pretty much on the other side of the storm over on the west side. Other than that, though, we're looking at probably the worst of the storm outside of Lafayette County right now, but we will stay on air with you guys until this tornado warning is dropped from Lafayette County, just to keep you guys on the safe side. And of course, if you have any family or friends just outside of our viewing area, we'll have some information for you guys as we continue that, but we'll try to get you guys off air as soon as possible. So what we're going to do is take another look at the radar, show you guys the velocity again, where we're seeing that rotation, which looks to be once again weakening. There's not, the problem is that we're getting so high up in the storm, it's tough to even see the rotation. So just south of Water Valley now is where we're seeing that rotation currently very weak. Very weak. I would be shocked if we saw something on the ground right now. And that is right near Mississippi 32, you got Water Valley right here, you got your couplets. So that's where the rotation is. In fact, we'll zoom in a little bit further, get you some street names here. So that's going to be Arkansas 32, we got Arkansas 7 right here on the left-hand side of your screen, and South Main Street. That is pretty much where we're seeing that rotation right now, right next to Water Valley. So pretty close to the center of the town there, working towards the southeast, right around 35 miles per hour. As we continue to take a little bit of a bigger look here, because we are covering this essentially for Lafayette County, I will say this rotation you can see south of the county line. We will stay on air until this part of the warning is chopped off. And hopefully at some point, National Weather Service will decide to do that. But until then, we're going to continue covering this storm as it works towards the south and east, right around 35 miles per hour. So let's put a track on this rotation, what we're seeing right now, and get you some locations for where this storm will be heading. And right now, for the next 45 minutes, Pine Valley, Ellard, Schoona, Shepherd, Bounds, and Pittsburgh are all in the way. In fact, Pine Valley right around 7:51, Schoona 8:12, Shepherd 8:14, and Pittsburgh right around 8:22 p.m. So continuing to move very slowly. 35 miles per hour is not a quick-moving storm. That's been the theme for today, and it's something that we will continue to watch. But it looks like for Lafayette County, at least this rotation is not heading your way. In fact, even areas of central and eastern Lafayette County, even though you are technically part of this tornado warning, I think you guys are fine at this point. And we'll continue to cover this until you guys are outside of this warning. And like we showed you guys, even the hail threat south of the county line now, just northeast of Water Valley. So we'll continue to watch this, but really I think Lafayette County has really skirted some of the worst weather. It looks like it stayed in Panola County and then started to get going just as it left Lafayette County, looking at the radar there. So definitely some good news if you're in Lafayette County. If you're south or to the west, of course, a little bit of a different story. If you're in Oxford, I will say you're underneath that severe thunderstorm warning right now. You're probably ending up with the rain pretty shortly here, if not already. Yeah, so not even any rainfall currently in Oxford. Even though you have that severe thunderstorm warning, we're looking at this storm pretty much pushing south of your area. And outside of that, we are not looking at anything too impactful in the Mid-South. You can see some storms currently out towards the west near Stuttgart and Clarendon, moving towards Phillips County. And we'll see if that holds together later on for the potential of some severe weather in Phillips County. But as of right now, it looks like everything out there, outside of our viewing area, and this tornado warning storm as well, pretty much moving out of Lafayette County. In fact, pretty shortly, I would not be shocked in the next 15 or 20 minutes if we see this warning cut back a little bit as this continues to work toward the south, since essentially that part of the storm, which is going to be right around here, is going to be where we are going to be watching for the potential of that spin. And we're just getting some information from the National Weather Service right now. Currently still radar indicated tornado with potential of baseball-sized hail with this storm as it continues to work towards the southeast, right around 30 miles per hour. This is going to continue to include the counties that we're talking about, Lafayette, Yalobusha, and Calhoun until 8:15 p.m. We will probably not be on air for that whole 8:15 p.m. tornado warning. Likely what's going to happen is the National Weather Service is going to cut off Lafayette County at some point here. And we'll try to get you guys off air because essentially this spin is outside of our viewing area now. Anything that's left of that spin, and especially the hail, is now outside. So now we're talking about the severe threats moving outside the ABC 24 viewing area, but we got to stay on, cover things until those warnings get scaled back. So we're going to keep you informed here. We'll still cover this rotation right now and show you what's going on with that. We'll switch it back over to the wind because that's how we look at rotation with these storms. And just east of Velma, so pretty much in between Velma and Pine Valley, that we're continuing to see at least some rotation. And we're looking so high up in these storms, it's very hard to see the rotation. A lot of times the rotation in these storms are in the first couple thousand feet. We're talking up to 2,000, 3,000 feet maybe. And if we're slicing above that, we're not seeing much at all. So that's kind of the case here, is that we're just not seeing too much on the radar. But this is where the rotation should be very weak, showing up on the radar as well. So I would be shocked to see a potential tornado on the ground right now. In fact, if we switch over to what's called CC, correlation coefficient, or what we call debris detector, typically we'd look for a blue circle on the map here. That would be an indication of potentially some debris being lofted in the air. The radar can see that. We're not seeing that right now. So another indication that we're just really not seeing the potential for at least a tornado on the ground, which is good news. We want to keep it that way. We want you guys to get on with your lives, and of course, when there's a tornado on the ground, bigger concerns than that. So what we'll continue to do, we got another 30 minutes until the warning itself expires. So that's going to be this tornado warning. We're going to hopefully see that scale back here pretty soon for Lafayette County, because we're talking about this storm essentially moving out of the county here pretty soon. And in fact, if I put this over the last 30 minutes, we'll put a loop on it, and I'll slow it down for you guys as well. We'll show you the motion of this storm has been south-southeast, and here's the Lafayette County, Yalobusha County line. And essentially this storm, even the rain, is about to be gone. Where we've been looking for the rotation is right there on the storm. So this is all well south of our viewing area. But of course, we got to stay on air with you guys. And of course, if you have any friends or family members that are in those areas downwind or ahead of the storm, this is something that you're going to want to let them know. that they are potentially going to be dealing with here in the next 30 to 40 minutes. So we'll take another look. I'll pause things here, show you guys some of the heavier rainfall right now. Paris, just on the border of Lafayette County, you're seeing some moderate to heavy rain. Things are about to end for you guys probably in the next 15 minutes or so as this works down towards the south. As we go over towards Taylor, you're in the clear now. You're not in the tornado warning. Springdale, you're right on the border of this warning, but I would say you're in the clear as well. You're not going to be seeing anything else. Oxford, no longer underneath that severe thunderstorm warning. You're good to go. Burgess, you're good to go as well. It's really just along the border of the county line that we're watching at least the storm's impacts in the way of rainfall. The hail core and the spin with the storm are now starting to leave the ABC 24 viewing area. And we will continue to cover this until the watch is scaled back, or the warning, I should say, is scaled back, or we see it canceled entirely here. But I do want to show you guys, we do still have currently severe thunderstorm watch. So that's going to be out right now for Lafayette, Panola, Quitman, Phillips County, as well as Coahoma County until 11 p.m. That's that red shading. We'll have to see if this gets scaled back, because as these storms continue to work towards the south, the atmosphere north of them isn't great. So we'll see if this gets held through 11 p.m. for our viewing area, but we'll also watch for another round of showers and storms as we get later on into the night. We're talking around midnight to 3 a.m. We could see some more storms moving through the area. As for warnings, what we're looking at right now, we do have that one tornado warning for the very southern portion of Lafayette County. You can also see some severe thunderstorm warnings out towards the west, so just west of Phillips County, something we'll have to watch over the next hour, but I don't really think there's going to be a tornado threat with those storms as they're looking right now. We'll see if things change, but right now the only tornado warning very south Lafayette County, and like we said, realistically moving out of the viewing area now. We'll continue to watch this out until that warning is dropped. So let's get you back over to the wind. We'll look at where that couplet is. And essentially what we're looking at right now, like we said before, between Velma and Pine Valley. So this is in Yalobusha County, where we're seeing at least the signatures of maybe some rotation. We'll go ahead and draw this up for you guys. And essentially, this is where we're seeing the storm spin and where we could see the potential of a tornado. Right now, what we're looking at is pretty weak couplet. This is not something that I would say is probably producing a tornado on the ground right now. You can see this scale right here. Once we get into these bright pinks or these bright greens, that's when we got fast winds spinning. And we're nowhere near that. So that's an indication to me that this is a pretty weak area of rotation in the storm. And we still have not heard of any confirmation. This is still a radar indicated tornado warning with this until 8:15. In fact, if we switch over to the hail, that's probably been my biggest concern, and even that is trending down since that original warning came out. Just north of Pine Valley now that we're seeing at least that hail core. Let me get you moved up so you can see them. Pine Valley. And of course, this is in Yalobusha County, outside of Lafayette County, but we're going to potentially watch for this warning to be continued here. Hopefully they scale back Lafayette County, but right now what we're watching is really south of the viewing area. So right here is the Lafayette County border, the hail core, which is the one severe threat, as well as that spin, which is where we can see strong winds and a tornado, also south of that county line. So we're really looking outside of our viewing area for those biggest severe threats. And I will say we have to stay on until this warning expires, which right now, potentially 8:15 p.m. We'll see if that gets canceled a little bit earlier, according to the National Weather Service. So I'm going to get you back over to the radar, show the actual rainfall with this storm. What we're looking at right now, rainfall about to come to an end in Paris. If you're in Springdale, you're dry right now. If you're in Oxford, Taylor, Burgess, you're in the clear right now. We're looking at this storm really moving south of this county line right now. And with that, all the impacts of this storm, which is great news for us moving south and out of the ABC 24 viewing area. We'll pull up the warning once again. You'll see where this is. This is still going to be until 8:15, and it does include Lafayette County, Calhoun County, and Yalobusha County radar indicated. And that's something we've been talking about all evening here, at least with this storm, is that there has been signs of spin on the radar, but we haven't seen any radar indication or ground truth to there being an actual tornado on the ground, which is great news. We want to hear that. We want this storm to not produce a tornado. So as we continue forward here, what I say is just keep yourself weather aware, not only because of this storm, but we do have some more storms potentially on the way for tonight. It's looking like around midnight to 3 a.m. we could see another potential round of storms that could produce some severe weather here in the Mid-South. And also again on Sunday, we could see another round of severe weather here across the Mid-South as well. So that's something we're going to be keeping an eye on as we go forward. But we're looking at still just this one storm. Everything else has either moved out of the area, fallen apart, or is outside the viewing area. I will say the one other storm that I'm watching, and we'll have to keep an eye on this for the next 40 minutes, moving into Phillips County, is this severe thunderstorm warned storm that has been pushing towards Phillips County. No spin with this. So if anything, it just gets a severe thunderstorm warning on it. But right now, looks like really all we've been dealing with is this storm as it's moved from Tate County to Panola, Lafayette, and now starting to push out of our viewing area. But we will stay on air until that warning is dropped specifically for Lafayette County. So if they clip that off or they cancel this entire warning, it will send you back to regular programming. But for now, we're going to stay on air with you guys until this warning is canceled. So let's get you a little bit of a reset here. I'll show you guys pretty much the entire viewing area, what's going on. If you are in Memphis, if you're in Covington, if you're in Lakeland, Bolivar, Corinth, Holly Springs, Forest City, Truman, Dyersburg, Tunica, you're quiet. And you're probably going to stay quiet through the rest of tonight until we get late at night where we could see potentially more storms. But for now, it's really been the southern portion of the viewing area. If we put a loop on this last 5 hours or so, you can see these storms that formed right around rush hour and have been pushing to the south, created quite an issue for the roadways right around the rush hour here in the Memphis metro. We had a severe thunderstorm warning earlier on for Shelby County. That is long gone, and we've been tracking this one storm, essentially what happened. And I'll go ahead and zoom in right here. You can see a couple of these storms pretty much came together and enhanced the spin right there. And that's where we saw that tornado warning come out for Tate, Panola, and Lafayette County. So you can see that merger of these two cells, and then it spins up. And that's what's been this storm really for the last, I believe, 2 hours that we've been on air with you guys covering this, has been that one cell that seems to have had its act together enough to spin on a day that was relatively not very conducive for tornadic weather. So it's been doing a pretty good job given the atmospheric conditions, and it's why we've been covering it. I will say now moving really outside of our viewing area, you can see for the most part, that rain line starting to be south of the Lafayette County border. So we are going to continue to cover this until that warning gets dropped for Lafayette County. But that hail risk, that wind risk, the heavy rain, now likely just in Yalobusha County and Calhoun County as well. So if you have any friends, any family out in these counties, just give them a call. Let them know that you got a strong storm on the way. Make sure that they're in a safe place as we go forward. What I'll do is I'll zoom in Pine Valley, essentially right underneath that hail core, that area where we've been seeing some pretty decent hail across really since Tate County, since Senatobia, that we've been seeing some of that hail pushing through the Mid-South. This has stayed together. That's the one thing for sure with this storm, is that we have seen some pretty sizable hail, and that continues to be a threat as this pushes down towards the south and eventually completely out of our viewing area. You can see Lafayette County just up on the northern part of the screen. What I'll do is I'll switch over to the rotation towards the wind speeds, and we'll show you where that rotation is right now, right about here. And we're looking really high up in the storm right now. So Pine Valley just to the north of this, Ellard towards east, Velma towards the northwest, and here is your rotation. This is why we got the tornado warning. I will say not very impressive. So we're going to continue to stay on air with this, but I will say this is not something that I think is producing a tornado that's on the ground right now. And then we can take a look at that using some of our tools from our radar, what we call correlation coefficient, or what we call the debris detector. Essentially what we're seeing right now is not something, typically we'd see a tight hole of some blue co-located with that rotation, and we're just not seeing that right now. Essentially, we're seeing that over where we're seeing the wind get pulled into the system. So not an indication that we're seeing a tornado right now. Great news. We want it to stay that way, and we hope it stays that way. But right now, we're going to stay on air at least until 8:15. So that gives us about another 18 minutes, or if they cancel the warning a little bit early for Lafayette County, hopefully we can get you off air here and send you back to your regular programming sooner than 8:15. But we're going to stay on until this warning is canceled. But I will say right now, looking at the radar, and we'll switch you back over to the rain, at this point, I think Lafayette County is probably in the all clear at this point. You got no rain over you, and where you do some very light precipitation, and with the storm motion on this to the southeast, essentially where we're looking at, and I'll zoom out right here, this storm is moving down towards the southeast right now. The hail right about here, the rotation right about there. This is all working away from our viewing area. So what we'll do is we'll continue to stay on this warning right now until 8:15. So that gives us about another 15 minutes that we'll be on air, and then we'll get you back to your TV, to what you want to be watching, and will hopefully be the last time that we get you on air for a tornado warning for tonight, which is, it looks like it potentially will be the case, and hopefully it's the case. So let's get you back here. This is the warning that we're talking about. Tornado warning storm is from the National Weather Service, moving towards the southeast right around 30 miles per hour. And this is out until 8:15 p.m., so about 15 minutes around. So if you're joining us, it's right about 8 o'clock right now. We're covering this tornado warning that's been moving from Tate County to Panola to Lafayette. Now it's going from Lafayette to Yalobusha and Calhoun counties. Now, of course, the ABC 24 viewing area ends here at Lafayette County, but we still have this warning out. I will stay on air until this is dropped for Lafayette County. So just keep that in mind, that hopefully that gets canceled a little bit earlier, at least north of the county line. We can drop you off sooner. But until then, we're going to keep you on air with this storm that has had signs of rotation all the way since Tate County, but also has had some pretty sizable hail and even some gusty winds. It's been the one storm that's really been producing some pretty significant severe weather as it's been pushing down towards the southeast. Close towards the Memphis metro. It's been trucking along for about 2 to 3 hours now. It's been the one storm that we've really been watching the entire evening. So what I'm going to switch us over to is essentially a product on our computer here that shows you the spin of the storm over the last 2 hours. And this has been a very slowly moving storm. And you can see there was some enhanced spin just near the Lafayette-Panola County lines, but then it went away, started to get a little bit more as it got down towards the south. And that's why this tornado warning, we had signed off right around 7:15. It got extended, or it got reissued a little bit later because we saw that re-spin up of rotation with this. So actually, let me go ahead and I'll pull this out even further. So this is going to be the last 6 hours. I'll put this on, and you'll be able to see where this rotation started was essentially in portions of Tate County here, Senatobia, where we did see here some reports of some hail, some wind. So this was around 6:17 p.m. You can see some stronger spin associated with this storm, and it's been pushing down towards the southeast. In fact, as it got into Panola County, that's probably where it had its best look for potentially having a tornado with it. It then started to weaken as it moved down towards the south and east. And we've continued to see off and on signs of it spinning as you go further south into Lafayette County, and that leads us to where we are as of right now. So what we're going to do is, it looks like this warning was just canceled for Lafayette County. So what we'll do is we'll send you back here to the radar, show you what's going on. As of right now, the one other storm I'm watching, and we'll let you know because there's not going to be a tornado warning, so we'll probably fill you in on social media about this storm, is a storm moving in from Arkansas into Phillips County. But with that being said, we're going to send you guys back to your programming.